I have seen the future of law enforcement, but I thought it wore silver armor. Maybe this is a competing unit. Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here, and we're taking a look this time around at Strongarm. This is her version from the Legacy Evolution line, which is considerably more accurate to her cartoon counterpart, rather than the previous one that I reviewed not too long ago. So that one was reviewed with as part of the Ultra Bee gift set, and that one was done rather cheaply, so that one I was not happy with. I am glad that we finally have one that's a little more accurate to how she was depicted. Although I would have been happier had she not been an extensive retool. She uses the same body style and a few of the parts that were also used for the Legacy version of Elita 1 and Minerva. So I guess it's a great way for them to make female Transformers, but would be nice to see this be changed a little bit. Although I will say there is some significant difference here on Strongarm than what was done with the other two. So I guess we'll give it a slight pass. At least until we start looking at how it affects everything. For those of you that didn't see the previous video on Ultra Bee, Strongarm here is a cadet from the Autobots Military Academy. She's very strict and knowledgeable in law enforcement. And it definitely made her happy to be assigned to the same unit as Bumblebee, since he was the hero of the Autobot Decepticon War. And even more so, she got assigned to be at Earth. Unfortunately, since she's by-the-book type, she doesn't get along well with Bumblebee's loose command style. And she also doesn't really care for having to work with a constant rule breaker like Sideswipe and a former criminal like Grimlock. So Strongarm has a lot of disappointment about her career to overcome. But hopefully, as the series went on, she did learn to gel better with her teammates, and they became an effective fighting force. Let's take a look now at her accessories, especially since some of these are hard to find in the package, the way they're doing this now. For starters, we have her gun. It's a nicely done up little pistol with an extended barrel. In some ways, the extended barrel on it kind of reminds me of the Auto 9 that RoboCop used. Although this doesn't look quite as bulky as that gun, but still brings it somewhat to mind. I don't think that one would look out of place in her hands. And next up, probably the one that gets lost the easiest in the packaging due to the way they put them in the tissue paper on the back end of it, is her light bar. So as you can see, the light bar is made of very thin plastic, so it is very easy for it to get overlooked and accidentally discarded. It also doesn't help really that the instructions really don't give you anything to tell you that these parts are in there. Well, I mean, it does show them, but it would be nice if there was a separate page that just showed, hey, this is what it includes. And normally they would take it, they would probably have you remove it, but Since it's so thin, it really doesn't get in the way with transforming her or playing with her, so almost in reality, they probably shouldn't have made it as a detachable part. Because in reality, it just really doesn't get in the way and just becomes an extra piece to lose. At any rate, let's take a look now at Strongarm's articulation, and as I said, I think it's going to be hampered a bit here with the new way they've redesigned her. You can turn her head from side to side, that's pretty easy to do. Her arms can go out about that far, even with the piece being in the way there. And of course, if we have the piece down and you move her arm a bit, you can get her arm to rotate all the way around at the shoulder. As you can imagine, the front fender will get in the way if you don't. You can bend her arms at the elbow a little greater than 90 degrees, and she does have the swivel arm battle grip. That was so famous with G.I. Joe toys back in the day. She can twist at her hips, so we do have some dance moves going there. Her legs can be spread apart about so far. She does have a pretty decent thigh cut. Just a matter of keeping her hips steady while you adjust it. You can raise her leg at the hip 90 degrees, and you can bend her leg at the knee 90 degrees. So all in all, she does have the same articulation that a lot of other deluxe toys would have, but slightly hampered. Not as bad as I expected it to be. Okay, let's transform Strongarm. And it's slightly different than what you did with Elita 1 and Minerva, but still relatively about the same. We start by coming here and folding up the front fenders on her shoulders. Get those folded straight up. Come on back here to the back. Raise the back end a little bit. That way we can get underneath her back and fold out the truck bed that she's got hiding in there. Then while we're here, we've got these protrusions here at the side of her back. They swing out a bit, so swing them out and rotate them to get them to form the doors of her truck mode. Yeah, it's easiest to swing them out and then start to turn. Swing them back and finish the turn. Sounds almost like we're square dancing or something here. Get her arms back into position. And we come down here and turn her legs around at her hips. So now the wheels should be facing you. Spread her legs open a little bit so that we can reach in here inside of her legs, fold out these extra pieces. If you have Minerva or Elita 1, you remember those pieces very well. Then once that's done, you can press her legs together or slide the post in, which is probably the easiest way to do it. Straighten her arms out as well, because we'll need them somewhat straight. And come down here and you'll pop the pieces for her legs out at the knee. They'll pop out sideways. And we just fold them up and line them all up, line them up with her arms and her shoulders. So they should all connect together. Just exactly like that. Before they recommend that we get her feet folded into position, we should get the rest of her into position. Start by coming here and folding out the hood and front bumper. Get them out and lowered. There's protrusions on the sides of the front bumper. They should line up and connect the holes in her shoulders. That'll help form the front end of the truck. And then we just adjust the rear portion so it gets down. So there are posts at the back of it, and they line up with a hole in the top of her legs. So then that all lines up, and then to completely finish her, fold her feet inwards to form the back of the truck. And there we go. Strongarm is in her truck mode. It's interesting to see her as a generic police truck. Although it would have been nice to have seen a stylized badge or something done on the hood or maybe on the doors. Just something to help sell the look a little more. You know, just something generic. Doesn't have to be a specific unit or anything. That just would have made a nice extra detail. And of course, there's a lot of holes along her side for you to plug her gun in. The instructions recommend that you plug it in on the side like that. Or if you want to go old school Target Master Cup, could always plug it in here into the bed of her truck, and she's got a tail gun. That'll certainly make anybody nervous about tailgating a police truck, wouldn't it? Alright, how well does she roll? Rolls pretty good here on this table. Unfortunately, there's no real suspension on this truck, so no off-road driving for this toy. So now we get down to my thoughts. Well, while I can't compare her to a lot of the other versions of this toy that have been released over the years, I will say this. This is certainly better than the one that was included with Ultra Bee. But then again, that one was done up as a very simplistic combiner. So it's kind of like comparing an apple to a banana. But at any rate, this toy is pretty good. It does use a tried and true character mold that has been successful, and so far hasn't been beaten to death. Although, give it time. We know how Hasbro is with how they reuse their molds. But all in all, it is a rather nice toy, and definitely one for young girls, or even boys that don't mind having a girl Transformer in their group. It's a good toy to have around. Strongarm's definitely an interesting character, and I'm glad they didn't stereotype her. The only real complaint that I had with it is, like I said, I don't really like the light bar being made a separate accessory. It doesn't really get in the way. They should have just permanently attached it and been done with it. But all in all, that's a rather minor gripe in the overall scheme of things. At any rate, that's my review of the Legacy Evolution version of Strongarm. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please do remember that if you love the content we feature on my channel, I would appreciate a like, a share, a comment, and even a subscription. This is Sparkster1701 saying I'll catch you all later.